Today, I'm reviewing the Blendtec Total Blender Classic after having owned it for 10 years. I will walk you through some of the things I've learned over the years in terms of my own personal best practices for using this unit. Then we'll see it in action, tackling all sorts of fun recipes. And finally, I'll give you my overall 10-year review of the Blendtec. Is the Blendtec really worth it? I'm Allison with Simple Fantastic Kitchen. Let's get into it. The Blendtec is a high-powered blender that can do many things, including pulverizing fruits and vegetables, turning them into the smoothest, silkiest liquids. It's an easy and delicious way to consume the whole fruit or vegetable and thereby get all the fiber and nutrients packed inside, which is so much healthier. Now, a standard blender can handle a banana, but it takes a high-powered blender to pulverize things like frozen fruits, celery, fresh ginger, and nuts, turning them into a smooth, creamy beverage. I've used my Blendtec for smoothies, waffle and pancake batters, soups, cocktails, sorbets, shakes, salad dressings, sauces, and so much more. Having a high-powered blender to me is a necessity in my kitchen. And now I'm going to tell you a little story. I originally owned another mixer, you know the one. It's Blendtec's major competitor, and it worked great, but I did have a few complaints about it. Always having to tamp down the food. It was so tall it didn't fit under my cabinets on the countertop, and the blades were very sharp to the touch, which is to be expected, but also a little nerve-wracking when it came to cleaning the blender jar. Well, after 3.5 years, that top-of-the-line blender died on me. The motor just clean stopped. I had bought it at Costco, so I didn't have to go through the warranty process. And instead of just getting a new one, I said to myself, what else is available on the market? And lo and behold, the Blendtec was recommended to me. So I thought I'd give it a try. Well, here I am 10 years later with that same Blendtec, and I'll tell you some of my first impressions when I originally bought the product. Like an unboxing, but 10 years later. 1, there is no tamping down required. I almost never have to stop the blender for standard items like smoothies to push ingredients down. This was wonderful for me. 2nd, it actually fits under my countertop cabinets. Oh, I love that. 3rd, it was less expensive than its main rival, and if you check the prices currently listed for the Blendtec and its main competitor, you might be surprised as to how much savings you'll have. 4th, it matched the competition's power in terms of pulverizing. That's probably the most important thing. And finally, the blade at the bottom isn't really that sharp to the touch, so I don't worry when I'm cleaning it that I'll cut myself. Although I almost never have to have my hands near the blades because the cleaning cycles work so well for this unit. By the way, the Blendtec blade is called the Blunt Safety Blade, and it's 80% thicker and 10 times stronger than other blades. Remarkable. Now, it should go without saying, please still be careful when handling the jar and never ever put your hands inside while it's mounted on the motor. Use best practices as with any other blender, and I encourage you to read all the safety instructions regarding this product before using. They're in the user manual and can also be found online. So let me tell you the specs. It is a powerful 1560 watt motor. The push button controls here are fully sealed. There are up and down buttons that allow you to control 10 speeds manually, pressing up or down for more or less power. It also has a pulse button to manually control via power bursts as well. There are also pre-programmed automated cycles for batters, sauces, dips and dressings, mixed drinks and milkshakes, smoothies, soft serve ice creams, frozen yogurts and sorbets, whole juices and green drinks, and finally, hot soups, hot chocolates, hot drinks, and syrups. It also has an illuminated LCD timer that displays the remaining time on blends. And there's something really fun about the display too. Every time you turn the power on, a number will come up. That number is just like your car's mileage, except the Blendtec will tell you how many blends it's done in its lifetime. Can you see what my number is? My machine currently has over 1,300 blends. Can you believe it? It's pretty cool, huh? It comes with a 75-ounce volume, impact-resistant, BPA-free jar called the Wild Side Plus jar. The jar also has a patented 5th side that allows for bigger, faster blends. The jar has a vented lid and a 36-ounce liquid fill max capacity that accommodates wet and dry foods and serves an average of 3 to 4 people. The jar has measurements on 2 sides. One side shows the cups and ounces. The other side shows the milliliters and the centiliters. Washing the jar in the dishwasher is not recommended, but cleaning in between uses is extremely easy. I will detail that when we make our recipes. One thing I'd like to share, I remember hearing from someone that best practices with this unit is to only turn the power on when you are using it. It can be plugged in at all times, but shouldn't be turned on unless you are about to use it. Then shut it off immediately after use. This is to keep the motor happy, and I found it's worked extremely well for me, so I recommend this practice highly. So now let's see this puppy in action. First, let's make a traditional staple in my house, a smoothie. Let's make my delicious mixed berry protein smoothie. For best practices, they recommend loading the jar with liquids first, then soft solids, then hard, dense, or frozen items. I have found this to be absolutely correct, so that is how we will load our items today. By the way, with this unit, you should never push ingredients down while the blender is working. I rarely need to do this, as I said before, but if necessary, always stop the blender first, remove it from the motor base before doing it, just to make sure you don't accidentally turn it on while pushing something down. That would not be good. So we'll start by adding 1.5 cups of chilled, unsweetened almond milk. Half a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Then add 1 fresh banana. And really, you can just put that in there whole. Approximately 1 cup of fresh baby spinach leaves. Now you can also use frozen spinach if you want as well. Works just fine. Works great actually. Then add 6 whole raw unsalted cashews. Then add about 2 cups or 10 ounces of frozen mixed berries. And you can just stick it in a whole clump, just like this. Next up, I like my smoothies to have some protein, so I recommend adding 1 serving of the protein powder of your choice. Today, we'll go with a plant-based protein powder. I'm using the Orgain Organic Vanilla Protein Powder that also contains 50 superfoods, and it has 21 grams of protein per serving. It's packed with protein, nutrition, and at the end of the day, it tastes awesome. So that's the one I'm going with. Now, 1 serving of this is actually 2 scoops. And I'm gonna leave mine pretty close to the top because we're gonna try to be very efficient. Next, we'll be adding 1 teaspoon of honey, and we'll do this efficiently by using our teaspoon to make a little crater in the protein powder. Now just add 1 teaspoon crater-sized amount of honey to the blender. Now, 1 teaspoon of honey is the perfect amount of sweetness for me, but feel free to add more if you like it sweeter. You can see, by the way, we are well below the 36-ounce max liquid fill line, so we're fine with this. So you're gonna really secure the lid. You're gonna get that on there nice and tight, just like this. Now you're gonna turn the blender on. The power button is in the very back of the blender. And then we're gonna press the smoothie button for 1 cycle or until completely combined. This usually takes about 1 to 2 minutes. The unit can jump a little bit when first starting a cycle, so I find it's best to hold the blender from the sides of the motor or to gently press down on the top of the jar. After about 15 to 30 seconds, I usually release my hold on the unit and just let it blend. And from my experience, I have never had the lid fly off once I've completely secured it, no matter how much the unit moves. Should we give it a look-see? Oh, see, it looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks absolutely beautiful, silky smooth, just the way I like it. And it will be chilled when served because the mixed berries double as ice cubes. And voila, here's our beautiful, healthy mixed berry smoothie. It's very normal for there to be a little bit of residue on the top, but it's not actually inside of the glass. That's the important part. Just FYI, I've made smoothies with every fruit imaginable, including apples, and they turn out just this smooth. And by the way, on this model, you can stop any pre-programmed cycle just by pressing that cycles button a second time. So now we're gonna clean the jar. This is so simple. You just fill it with 1 cup of warm water with a little dish soap. You blend it for 10 to 15 seconds on the pulse button right here. And that's all you have to do. But I will tell you, for my best practices, I do like to rinse it out first, just running water inside of it. And sometimes taking a non-scratch sponge to the sides and the the creases of the lid, and then run the cycle on pulse for 10 to 15 seconds with the dishwashing soap and the water. Then I rinse the jar and lid with water until no more soap is there. It's important to do a cleaning immediately after use. That way nothing gets stuck on and cleaning truly is very easy and quick. Now to taste. That is so good. This is the perfect smoothie to start your day, drink post-workout, or have as a healthy snack. Now let's rice some cauliflower in the Blendtec. First, add your cauliflower to the Blendtec jar. About this much is pretty good. Then you're going to add enough water to cover the vegetables. That means your vegetables really can't be above the 36-ounce line. So as you can see, I'm right up to that 36-ounce line with the cauliflower. If you have more cauliflower you'd like to rice, just do it in a couple of batches. Now you secure the lid. We're going to turn it on, then press the pulse button 4 to 5 times or until the cauliflower has reached your desired texture. We're going to open it up. Now we pour the contents of the jar over a mesh strainer and allow it to drain. You are left with cauliflower rice that you can toss into a saucepan or onto a baking sheet to make into a low-carb cooked rice the way you like it. If you want the rice cauliflower to dry a little faster, you can pat it down with some paper towels. I just like to leave mine in a bowl underneath it for a while just to let all of the water come out of it. It's pretty darn near perfect. Look at this. So that is how you rice cauliflower, and it turns out great. For our purposes, we will leave the full cauliflower rice recipes for another day. But how do you like to cook and spice your cauliflower rice? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's make an almond milk recipe. We'll start by adding 4 cups of water. So you should be almost up to the liquid fill line, but not all the way up. Then add 1 cup of raw unsalted almonds, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1/8 a teaspoon of sea salt. And now if you'd like, you can choose to add a sweetener of your choice. Today we will be sweetening our almond milk by adding 2 whole pitted dates. Get that lid on securely. Turn the Blendtec on, then select the whole juice setting for 1 cycle. Okay, it's done. Although it's very, very smooth, there are teeny tiny little bits and chunks of almond that are going to be in there that you don't really want for an almond milk. So we're going to strain that through a nut milk bag or cheesecloth, which I have right here. And you're going to strain it into some kind of a bowl, preferably a large container with a pour spout. It's just going to be easier for you. Okay, so we'll kind of put this back a little bit like so. And then we're going to pour. There is a drawstring. I recommend that you use it. So you press carefully on the bottom and more milk comes out. So that's pretty much everything. This actually looks pretty darn good as is, but it's recommended that you put it back in the Blendtec one more time for just absolute silky smoothness. We are going to wash this once first though. So now we're just going to pulse it to clean it for about 10 seconds. And we're done. I mean, that was like a minute total to clean it. Now we're just going to rinse it out. All right, it's been completely rinsed, and now we're just going to put it back in. Now I'm going to turn this so you can see it. And you can see we're really at about 4 cups. Even with using the nut milk bag and straining everything through, we're still pretty much almost at 4 cups of almond milk, which is awesome. Then press pulse for 3 to 5 times until it's the consistency that you like. That is so good. Next, we'll make our carrot ginger dressing. We'll start with 1 cup of avocado oil. Add 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, a 1/4 cup of coconut aminos, 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Note, you can also substitute 3 tablespoons of rice vinegar. Next, add 1 tablespoon of avocado oil mayonnaise, which acts as an emulsifier to keep the oil and vinegar from separating. Now add 1½ cups of baby carrots, 2 large stalks of celery cut into pieces that fit in the blender easily. Now we'll cut 1/4 of a yellow onion and put that in. Now we're going to do roughly 2 tablespoons of fresh ginger. I'll show you about what that looks like. Probably about yay. Maybe 1 more. I feel like we're about there. So that's about this much, roughly. Now you don't have to peel the ginger in a high-powered blender, but you do need to wash the skin thoroughly as you would a potato, which we've already done. The skin of the ginger has so many nutrients and antioxidants, so I love to include it. So we're gonna just drop it right in. Now we're gonna add roughly 2 tablespoons of honey. That looks like about 2 tablespoons to me. And of course, you are going to taste it after it's finished blending and make sure you don't like it sweeter. Some of these ingredients can make it taste just a little bit bitter, so you want to make sure that the honey is sweet enough to balance it out. Now we're going to add Himalayan sea salt and some cracked black pepper, doing about 10 turns with each. Great. Now, get that lid on nice and tight. We turn the power on, and on the Blendtec, press the batters and sauces button for 1 cycle or until it is the consistency of your desire. Okay, let's give it a taste. Okay, that is perfect. Absolutely perfect. So we're gonna slide this to the side and we're gonna make room for our salad that we're gonna be applying this to. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you, this is kind of fun. I have this little slider thing here that I got, and you cut them to size, and then you put them underneath any appliance you want, your toaster, and you just cut it to the size you want so no one even knows it's there. Put it under, and then guess what? You can slide it wherever you want to slide it. It's fantastic. Anyway, it's just something I love. I will leave a link to these little sliders in the description below in case you want to check them out. Now I'll decant it into my nifty salad dressing container. Now you can really see the consistency of the dressing. It's a very traditional carrot ginger consistency. If this one is a little too thick for you though, feel free to add a little bit of water, about 1 tablespoon at a time until you reach the thickness that you desire. Of course, you would keep blending it in the Blendtec. Look how cute. Then I am gonna pour the salad dressing onto a bed of fresh romaine with some tomatoes on it. There is practically an entire salad already in this container, so I don't really need too many more vegetables. Now, if you wanted a little more traditional, you might grate some carrots on top, but I wanna keep this salad as simple as possible so that our dressing can be the star of the dish. Should we give it a taste? That is so good. So what are my overall thoughts on the Blendtec? How does this thing hold up after 10 years? Is the Blendtec really worth it? The answer is a resounding yes. I have absolutely loved mine for 10 years. It's been a reliable workhorse in my kitchen, and I highly recommend it. There's only been one con, and it's mainly an aesthetic one. And honestly, I had the same issue with the other name brand high-powered blender as well. The issue is simply that the jar did get a somewhat cloudy residue on it after a while. I think it's from the extremely hard water we have, but it was pretty easily remedied by leaving a solution of vinegar, baking soda, and water in it overnight, and then scrubbing the sides and running a Blendtec traditional cleaning cycle the next day. That's something I do now every few months. And like I said, I had the same problem with the competitor's blender as well, so it's probably just my hard water, but I'd be really curious to know if any of you who own this product have had the same experience. Please comment below and let me know. Other than that small aesthetic issue, I have had no problems. I have been amazed at its function reliability, and tremendous power over its 10 years of use in my kitchen. Over 1,300 blends. My goodness, that's kind of amazing. If you own a Blendtec and you have tips, I encourage you to leave them below in the comments so that we can all use and enjoy them. Also, let me know if there's a particular recipe that you would like me to try in the Blendtec next. And if you'd like to check out the Blendtec Total Blender Classic or any of the other products that I've shown today, I've provided links in the description below. The full recipes from today are in the description as well. For more reviews and recipes, subscribe to Simple Fantastic Kitchen.